It's not often that I will even bother with an AR-15 review, but this one has a boatload of trick parts, and I gotta know, does the name carry weight? We're gonna break it down into 5 key categories and give you everything you need to know on the DarkStorm Industries modern fighting rifle in 5 minutes or less. Midwest Gun Works is a classic one-stop shop for everything gun, whether you need tools, accessories, or lead distribution devices. They've got it all. And if you're looking for that one part that you can't find anywhere else, try out their parts finder, which features a ton of brands and thousands of parts for all kinds of different guns. To learn more, head over to MidwestGunworks.com. This particular version of the MFR is classified as an SBR. It's got forged receivers, an 11-inch handguard with a 12.5-inch SOCOM profile barrel that's tied together with a fancy barrel nut. The receivers have full ambi controls, a fancy coated BCG, nice charging handle, Magpul SL stock, K grip, DSI's own flash hider, and finally an IR signature reducing finish in full camo. It's super fancy. The suppressor you'll see is from LMT, and the optic is a Holosun Ames. Now that you got the basics, let's get into it. For build quality, this thing is legit. It feels really well put together as a premium AR-15 should. I didn't notice anything weird about the way it was assembled, and we had 0 malfunctions while just absolutely blasting and getting this thing hot. And likely, because it won't come up anywhere else, they are one of the few brands using a little pin on the upper for the charging handle retention. It's got a pin there instead of like wearing out the receiver, I guess. 5 out of 5 for build quality. When it comes to ergonomics, I mean, it's an AR-15. It feels like home. The handguard has a nice shape and the stock is comfortable. However, I would appreciate a larger grip for these old meat paws. 4.5 out of 5 for ergos. I mean, it's an AR. It's great, it's good. Grand!
Good, great, grand, wonderful. No yelling on the bus!
For features, this thing is drowning in them. All the whiz-bang things are on the list. However, there are a couple things that I find weird. The ambi controls are accomplished by slotting the receiver. They machine a slot into the receiver, which functions just fine. It worked great, but it looks a bit jank. The handguard has M-lock slots in a bunch of places, but it looks like they simply forgot to cut them all out. I don't know why it's like that. This could be done for reducing heat signature, but for me, this leads to more heat soak in the handguard itself because it's trapped in there, and this gun definitely got really, really hot while dumping mags. Otherwise, everything was just fine. 4 out of 5 for features. When it comes to practical accuracy, aka how accurate we can be with the gun, we saw 3 inches with 55 grain ammo, 2.5 with 77, and then 1.2 with the 77 grain and the suppressor. The trigger feels pretty good, but there is 0 info about it from the manufacturer, so it's likely like a churched up mil-spec unit. None of that is impressive in any way. 2.5 out of 5 for accuracy because I hold ARs to a pretty high standard. Now value, this is where it's gonna get rough. This gun carries an MSRP of $2,500. Yeah, I know. That's a crap load of money for any AR-15. And I'm really struggling to find out or figure out or look at why it's so damn expensive, especially with that kind of accuracy performance. Don't get me wrong, this is not a bad rifle, and I do really enjoy it, but there's not a chance in my mind that it's worth $2,500. I'd say that this is more like $1,800-ish at most. For under 2 Gs, this thing brings a lot to the table, but for $2,500, it's too rich for my taste, especially, again, with that kind of accuracy. Ooh. Maybe I'm being too harsh, but I have really high expectations on rifles these days. If it's not shooting at least an inch, I kind of don't want it. This is not a bad rifle, it's just priced incorrectly. 3 out of 5 for value for a total of 19 out of 25. It's not a bad score, it's really not.